other such organizations. Private power is associated with economy, so it has to be discrete. But let's use common sense. If people who have a lot of power and form very compact groups have to try and coordinate their actions, don't you think that it is absolutely logical that they should try and come together and make sure that they put the actions of their corporations and their banks and the people that they put in government, like the Goldman Sachs team into the Department of the Treasury, or people who are revolving door bankers like Stanley Fischer, who goes from the IMF to Citicorp and then back again, or Larry Summers doing the same thing, or Robert Rubin going from Goldman Sachs to being Bill Clinton's Treasury Secretary and then going presently to being a high director, a top director at Citicorp. Don't you think that it makes common sense that if they have common goals, and they do, and common interests, that they would try to bring together their actions? It would be ridiculous if they didn't. It's logical that the people in power, the Rockefellers, the Soros, the Rothschilds, the Warburgs, the Harrimans, the Schiffs, the Bill Gates, the Buffetts, the Bushes, the Lazards, the Mountbattens, the Agnellis, the Benettons, the Safras, Montefioris, Kissingers, Clintons, Morgans, Greenbergs, Greenspans, Rhodes, Rubens of this world, doesn't it make sense that they get together every now and then and coordinate their actions? That's no conspiracy theory. That's basic common sense. It would be rational to believe otherwise. It would be irrational to believe that they never talk. It would be irrational to believe that they never agree on common goals. It would be irrational to think that they do not coordinate their actions. That's not being conspirational. That's merely using common sense. Would you call a closed-door, top-level strategic planning board meeting at ExxonMobil as a conspiracy to make billions of dollars through the exploration, exploitation, refining, and sale of oil and gasoline? No. It's common sense. It's basic business planning. That's what private strategic planning is all about. Now, if you want to call an Exxon board meeting for this purpose, and a CFR and Trilateral Commission and Bohemian Grove meeting a conspiration, well, it's up to you. But the C and T words have a lot of clout, conspiracy theory. And everybody knows that if you do not behave the way they want you to do, so that people will do, say, think, and write what the New World Order masters really want you to do, think, and write, then you know very well that the New York Times is not going to print your news and your ideas. The Wall Street Journal won't. Harvard, Yale, NYU, Chicago, MIT, and Princeton will not invite you to give a conference paying you a very nice fee. And you're not going to get a Pulitzer or a Nobel Prize of any sort. In other words, they will try to align certain people who are willing to follow along, and they will pay them nicely and give them the necessary prestige, because that prestige will in turn allow the New World Order to promote their agenda. Otherwise, if you are the way we are, if you are politically incorrect on any key subject, for example, the financial system, the global power structure, the nature of money, the practice of the corporate overworld, the crimes committed by, say, certain nations, the United States, the United Kingdom, Israel, if you are politically incorrect about the interpretation of modern history, in other words, if you try to describe certain false flag events, from the sinking of the battleship Maine in the harbor of Havana in 1898, through the sinking of the Lusitania, through the very strange circumstances surrounding Pearl Harbor that got you into World War II, the USS Maddox in the Gulf of Tonkin that got you into the Vietnam War, the USS Liberty that was sunk by very strange aircraft coming from Israel that almost got the United States into a nuclear war against Egypt in 1967 during the Six-Day War, 9/11. 7th of July 2005 in England. There are many, many of these false flag events that nobody wants them to be investigated. At least nobody in the world, in the New World Order. If you also want to research into modern war and conflict, to discover what the real roots of World War II were, what the true nature of all genocides, not some, all genocides really were, you're a marked man or a marked woman. They're going to call you fringe. They're going to brand you as a conspiracy theorist. You're going to be tossed out of any serious work, and you're not going to be able to research and investigate into the political motivations of the economy, the global crisis, the financial chaos of modern history. Mainstream media will ignore you. They're ignoring me in my country, as you can well imagine. They will disqualify you. Yup, you're going to be a conspiracy theorist, and they're going to really make life very difficult for you. In my country, we have a song, a popular song that says, if history is written by those who win wars, that means that there must be another history, the true story, the true history, and that's the one that needs to be listened to. If you are politically incorrect and want to describe what really the banking system, what democracy is all about, what money is all about, who controls the media, which genocides count and which don't, well, you're going to be branded a conspiracy theorist. If you even want to describe who attacks and who defends when it comes to wars, that too will get you into trouble. That's why so many of us are trying to spread the alternative word. People like Jeff Renzi, Alex Jones, Michel Chosudovsky from Global Research, Matthias Chang, Stephen Wheeler, Patrick Timpone, Andy Sutton, David Icke, and many others in the United States, in Europe, in Argentina. Surely we don't pack a punch like Fox News, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, the BBC, and we're not quoted as op-ed writers the way Paul Krugman and the Brzezinskis and the Fukuyamas and the Kissingers and the Huntingtons and the Krauthammers and the Crystals and the Gergens and the O'Reillys are. But people are waking up the world over. So the way to go is to start understanding that the New World Order wants to condition your thought process, your paradigms, and the way you make decisions. If you step out of line, it will push you back and out, stamping conspiracy theory on your forehead. They're going to call you, if you're a country or rogue state, they're going to call you fringe, marginal, fundamentalist, ultra this or ultra that. And if the going gets really tough, they're going to say you're a Nazi, an anarchist, a terrorist, an anti-Semite, a thug. And they will even break you, literally. This is war. Remember, it's people thinking with their own minds and not the minds of the New World Order masters that really instills fear in them. And it instills fear in them because although very powerful, they are a very small group of people. They need to control your paradigms and your thought processes. They need to control the way you view history. George Orwell used to say, whoever controls the past controls the present. Whoever controls the present controls the future. They need you to be passive. In closing, what can we all do? People often ask, what can we do? A truly great American once said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. So if you're watching this video right now, it's because you want to do something. Today it's 12th of May 2009. Let's start doing something. A 1,000-mile journey starts with the first step. It doesn't mean that we have to act irrationally or violently or even. Very often, like it or not, we have to sleep with the enemy because the enemy is very powerful. But even though we might have to sleep with the enemy, the important thing is that we do not think like the enemy. That's the key point. So here are 3 practical steps. First, help us spread the word. When you see videos, articles, websites, radio programs that you feel are reflecting this in an intelligent and serious and coherent and consistent manner, help us make those videos go viral in the internet. On a personal level, alert friends, family, colleagues, neighbors. Word of mouth spreads like wildfire. Get the media to listen, both the friendly media, who will listen gladly, and the enemy media, because although they will not carry our views, they will have to listen, like it or not, and they will see the growing numbers of people who are not buying their garbage. Third, let's work on a loose global network of like-minded citizens in all parts of the world who recognize that we have one common enemy, the New World Order masters. What's the objective? To achieve critical mass. We still do not have critical mass. That's why we have to still work hard. It requires time and effort. It requires generosity from each of us. It requires generosity towards the future, otherwise there will be no future. But once critical mass is achieved, the balance tips over very quickly. That's shown throughout history. You see, critical mass is not a quantitative matter. It's not a question of numbers. Critical mass is a qualitative factor. All great things in history were done by small groups of men and women willing to work and fight against the odds, unwilling to accept the impositions of other peoples upon them. The American Revolution, the South American Wars of Independence, the liberation of Europe from the USSR, Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi in India, the freedom fighters against apartheid, both in South Africa yesterday and in Palestine today. In my country, 17th October 1945, the Peronist movement made a virtual peaceful revolution that changed our country. The Resistance in France, who did not accept the German invasion. Small groups doing big things, acting in synchronization with willpower, enthusiasm, knowledge, and faith. That's the key. It's that easy. It's that hard.